Hi there! I know it's been forever since I had a video on my channel, but I'm so excited to have you guys back. It's just, life's been hectic, but I'm back and with a very exciting topic today. I thought, let's do something that will help prep for your summer. I know that many of us language lovers, when we go on vacation, we always like to practice our languages. So in this case, I was like, well, why not? Let's do Greek. I feel like a lot of people go to Greece, etc. So I'm going to use Greek to illustrate a few concepts, but important to note, in general, I want to talk about intro books, travel phrase books, etc. and how they compare, and do they compare to the tools out there? Are they replaceable? Are they not? And just what can you do? Is that the best way to learn the basics? Is that the best way to get immersed? And for those of you who are new, I'm Stephanie and I love languages. I make content on that topic and I'm so excited to see you back here. Now to dive in today, what I wanted to do is I wanted to test, right, a few ways in which you can learn a language. So you are all familiar with like the usual introductory books, right? Like that would be your ASMLs, your living language. I quite like those because they're like a good way to ease yourself into the language, especially if it's one with a script that you're not familiar with, like Greek. So I think books or let's say apps maybe might be good as well to like learn a new alphabet. You know, there's that kind of like learning new writing system apps. Those might work. And I do like that, and I think it can have its place. And then there's also another type of a helper that can be termed like an intro book, and that is like those travel phrase books, which I despise. I think they're just like rote memorization of phrases. I really don't think that they help, because if you have like this set of words or set of phrases in your head, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to use it for anything. Then can I have a beer please? And that's going to be it, right? You're not going to be able to use it to communicate, not even at a basic level, because that's rote memorization. It's not skill. It's not the type of knowledge that's required when you speak a language. Speaking a language happens through immersion in actual content. And, you know, to a certain extent, the intro books of like ASML style, they can help you do that. They can give you some of that content and some of those basic phrases and conversations. Travel books cannot do that. Like the travel phrase books are just disconnected phrases that are not going to be helpful. Now, you know that an app that I really like to use is called LingQ. And in this video, what I want to do is I want to delve into LingQ, and I want to see, can LingQ help? Can it replace those dreaded travel books? And can it replace the actually good introductory books that have like those, you know, conversations with a little bit of culture notes, grammar notes, stuff like that? And I think that LingQ can be very useful for this. For those of you who are new to my channel and don't know my long-held love for LingQ, it's a platform that's founded by my favorite polyglot, Steve Kaufman, and it contains thousands of hours of content for many different languages. And I wanted to showcase Greek in particular, right? Because yeah, Greece is a popular travel destination, but also I feel like so many times you kind of see the most popular languages everywhere. You see like your Spanish, your French, your Portuguese, but well, Portuguese maybe even to a lesser extent. But for exotic, quote unquote exotic, right? Languages like Greek, it's kind of harder to find resources for them. So what I want to do is I want to go into LingQ, and as you can see, this is the way that LingQ looks first. When you open it up, I have set the level to beginner because, of course, like our topic here is to see if we can actually use LingQ with like instead of intro books, instead of phrase books for travel, stuff like that. I've set this, so of course it makes sense at the beginner level because I feel like we're all familiar, like those of us that know LingQ, we're familiar that it can be great later on. You can see like LingQ has like many great things, like many great podcasts and books and scripts of Netflix TV shows to kind of help you learn with Netflix and, you know, YouTube and what will you, and there's like those advanced things. And I feel like there's this misconception that people think you go to LingQ when you're like intermediate or something, but that could not be further from the truth, because LingQ has these mini stories. Let's say, for example, they could be very useful if you want to start with a language and if you want to go in and learn something. Now, I haven't learned much through them because my Greek is already in the intermediate level, so of course I haven't played much with the beginner level stuff, but if you were a beginner, right, then you could go here into those mini stories, and that can be really helpful because actually you get like different topics, and when you hover you also get a translation in English, which is really nice because you can very quickly see what that story is about. So let's say that we can for example go for one of those, or what you can also do, which is very cool, I think, is you can search here into any topic that you might want. So you can do that. You can also go and you can see by topic. Do you want newsfeed? Do you want a guided course? A guided course can be so nice because those guided courses, they're on different topics. So it's like you know, greetings, eating out, like travel, anything like that, which I think is just so nice because you can get a lot of those things that you would get normally in those introductory books. As I mentioned, Asimo Living Language, you know, Teach Yourself, etc. You get like these different topics and conversations, and you get the exact same thing in LingQ. You can pick a guided course by level. You can also get some culture snippets. But, you know, let's say that you're going to Greece this summer and you want to, of course, eat out, enjoy great food, etc. You're gonna have that, for example, let's say in the tavern, right? This is really useful because this type of topic is very on point and to exactly what you need. So how is that different from, let's say, a travel phrasebook? In a travel phrasebook, you're gonna see things like, can I have a beer? Can I have the salad? Can, you know, goodbye, hello, that kind of stuff. And it's just like a little bit like a dictionary, except instead of words, you see phrases, but just as useless in terms of like learning. Because I think I've shared this in another video. There is a French Scrabble player that memorized the entire French dictionary and does not speak a word of French. Same thing here. If you memorize an entire phrasebook, you're not going to speak a word of your target language. So let's say you want to go, again, as I mentioned, you want to go and enjoy on a certain topic that you might find in a travel book, let's say the taverna, how to go in a Greek taverna, order food, etc. What you can do is you can open up this lesson in LingQ and very easily you can begin to play this.
Καθόμαστε έξω. Καλησπέρα. Θέλουμε αυτό το τραπέζι αν γίνεται.
Βεβαίως. Είστε 6 άτομα.
Ναι.
Ξέρετε τι θα πάρετε.
Ναι. Θέλουμε μια χωριάτικη σαλάτα, μια μερίδα καλαμάρια, σαρδέλες ψητές, γάβρο και μύδια τηγανιτά.
What we just heard is basically to translate, right? Where you're at the taverna, and there was these phrases like, oh, hello, can we have a table? And then you kind of, once people are seated, the question is like, what would you like? Oh, we'd like a Greek salad, we'd like an octopus, calamari, etc. So those phrases, you're going to find them in a travel phrasebook, you're going to find them in an intro book. But what you have here is you have them in a conversation. And you can hear and you can read at the same time. You can also go to sentence view if you want to kind of focus on one sentence. But the point here is that it's not these disconnected phrases. It is within a story. You can click on any of those words.
Taverna.
You hear the pronunciation, you see the translations, you can mark what level you're at, like new, recognized, familiar, or learned, or like known. And those are called links, right? You're able to create those connections. So it's very easily clickable. You don't have to look up in a dictionary or do anything along those lines. All you gotta do is you go in and you can read, you can listen. So you're activating two different senses and it's just like much easier to learn that way. But it's much easier to learn because it is within context. And we learn best with stories, not with isolated phrases. So you're able to immerse yourself to a situation of a Greek taverna. You don't need to memorize those phrases because you're picking up structures, you're picking up grammar in the background without even realizing it. Of course, you're picking up new words, you can click and see the explanation, etc. So you're also able to, let's say, if we continue here, you're able to see even more. You're able to continue the conversation with like ordering drinks, ordering whatever you might want here. But at the end of the day, all of those phrases are in a conversation. And that helps things stick in your head in a way that you would never get from that kind of like, let's say, a book that is just as entirely in phrases. Now, once you complete the lesson, you're gonna see this. you see all of the new words. Like in this case, they were added as known because I didn't mark them, but in any case, you can mark them in any way you want to, and then you can go and you can practice them. You can review them as many times as you want, and then you can learn in this way. Let's say I want to click on review lesson, right? If I click on review lesson, I'm gonna get the opportunity to see what this word means, right? I can test myself on this. I can also, in addition to that, choose how I want to test myself. Do I want to spell certain words? Do I want to do sentence review? Do I want to do flashcards, close test, multiple choice test? Like, it can be anything that I might want to do. And then this is going to help me pick up some Greek, pick up some thematic words. I can in general go through the LingQ mini stories, and just that is another great way to pick up my language. It doesn't have to be on travel related topics because I want to be able to converse at the beginner level. I can just go here and again use this and just kind of, let's say, go through another conversation that has a lot of other words that I can learn. It's like a lot of repetition in a way that is very natural. So you get a lot of those words, you kind of see them again and again in different lessons, you see them in different phrases and in different forms, and that helps with language a lot. So it doesn't have to be travel specific, but let's say you've gone through the mini stories, you want to go travel specific, you can search here at the search bar. You can also just browse and see what is related to the travel topic, just like I found the Taverna example that I gave, or this one, right? It looks like it's going to be travel related as well. So you can then be specific about what kind of vocabulary you want to see more of. But at the end of the day, learning through stories helps because it is this type of learning that is submersion. It's kind of the equivalent of being surrounded by the language. Being surrounded by the language can be like, well, when you were a baby and you were surrounded by it, or when you go to a foreign country and you were surrounded by it. But you can also create this sort of immersion situation using LingQ, and you can skip, all of the useless apps that kind of make you repeat the same words, and you can, skip, let's say, travel phrase books, etc. You can skip all of that and dive straight into LingQ. And even for the intro books I have mentioned before, I like intro books, not travel phrase books, but I do like the Assimil Teach Yourself kind. And sometimes you don't need those, because if you have a subscription for LingQ, you're learning several languages, you don't have to spend money on different intro books because all you need is right here. LingQ is not just for the advanced levels. That is a very big misconception that I really wanted to kind of go into and show you in this lesson, in this video, because at the end of the day, especially if you want something that's easy to go because it syncs, let's say on your iPad, on your phone, it's very easy to sync and to kind of take it with you everywhere you go. Whenever you're waiting somewhere or doing something, you can take LingQ with you. And so that's much more easy, right? Like much easier than just going and carrying all your books with you. It's great for on the go. It's great for when you have only 10 minutes to learn. It's a huge library of content. You can change the language very easily. And then at the end of the day, you are able to enjoy your language learning throughout all the levels. Once you kind of go through the beginner level, expand everything up until advanced, and you're able to see things that are much more advanced, things that are at this level that is, from much more advanced sources, and you're able to improve through more immersion. I think that's the beauty of LingQ, that it can take you through so much because there's a huge library of content for a very large number of languages. So I would definitely recommend it, especially if you want to learn very quickly, if you want to get immersed into a language very quickly, if you want to be able to use it when you step off that plane and go to your vacation. I think LingQ is probably the fastest way that you can, the tool that's going to help you get there fastest. Let's say that. So as always, I'd love to answer any questions you might have. Drop them in the comments. And I'm also very happy to cover any other topics or any other uses of LingQ, or in general, any other questions that you might have about language learning. I'm always open for any suggestions that you might have. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you hopefully soon in my next one. And in the meantime, enjoy your language learning, and let me know if you started a language from scratch with LingQ instead of an intro book. How did it go? And did you get convinced in the ability of LingQ to kind of serve as a replacement for those things? Thanks again. Bye bye.